Thank you, Puru, for the kind words and putting me on a spot. Good morning, Madurai. I am a local man. I am from a village which is 70 kilometers from Madurai. So it's absolutely pleasure to be here. And back, Puru mentioned that all of us, should do our best to come and help the Madurai, creating a brand around Madurai and help this local institution to find jobs elsewhere. So I'm right here, Puru, as part of this. So my sincere thanks to Shivakumar, a good friend, CEO of ICT Academy, and Puru almost is my good friend for the past decade or so, for giving me this opportunity to represent the IBM and be part of this wonderful event. So this is a very diversified audience. I can see that I can see the Vice Chancellor here. I can see a number of professors. I can see a number of students, quite a few. And I can see the sponsors. Some of them are, running their own companies. So I can see there are a number of entrepreneurs here, or industry owners here. So it's a very diversified audience. So it's very, very difficult to really make sense to all of them together. So let me try my best to see how can we really make sense to this kind of a diverse audience. First of all, you must be knowing in the world of business today, there is a Maslow's, hierarchy of, the hierarchy of needs. I'm sure people who have done their MBA will understand this. Similar to that, there is a similar, the hierarchy of needs among the customers. You take a customer who is a banking customer from, let's say, Tamil Nadu Mercantile Bank. He may be holding an account on Karur Vysya Bank or Tamil Nadu Mercantile Bank, who are, these banks are from this part of the world. But the customer will expect nothing less as Citibank customer or a HSBC customer would demand in terms of anywhere banking, anytime banking, anything a banking could offer, he will expect that. So slowly the consumers are raising their bar. They are expecting, they will never settle for anything less. That's putting enormous pressure on the business. And for the first time, IBM used to run an annual survey among the CEOs, CIOs and CXOs. And for the first time, CEOs started admitting that technology is becoming a biggest external factor in their business. So far, anyone, CEO or CFO, who's got the power to sign the check, when an IT guy is entering there, here comes the man who's with the expense budget. He's going to come and he's going to definitely ask for money. So that's the kind of response an IT manager will get. And, you might get away, by getting that money. It always, IT manager was considered as an expense item in business. But for the first time, CEOs started admitting that, irrespective of the business that they are in, they have started saying that technology is going to be the biggest external element in our business. I can't ignore it anymore. I better have a strategy. As a CEO, I better understand that. That's the first time we started getting this feedback from CEOs. Good thing for us. And so let me go to my charts. I've got few charts as well. So technology is needless to mention that it's dramatically changing the way we live, be it in our the way we interact with our colleagues, our social, personal interaction, or the way we buy or sell in our day-to-day life. Anything that you do, I think technology has made a dramatic change. I think Prakash only underscored several examples in his address. And people are empowered like never before. I'm sure you'll agree with me. At least 100 years back, even the emperors, some of the emperors who are ruling a big, country or a big, empire, could not even enjoy the kind of, the benefits that we are enjoying today in terms of able to go anywhere, talk to anybody. Those days, you can imagine how the signals were transferred, and today you think of it. So what we are enjoying, every common man today enjoying at a minuscule of the price is what was not enjoyed even by some of the emperors 150 years ago. So that's the kind of empowerment happened, be it in the way that you find and share information instantly. I mean, there are some data that I captured, like Prakash mentioned the morning. I can talk about scores of data points that to say that how much internet or communication or social networking or mobile has come into our life. So you are experiencing most of them. And just look at the last data point. 41% of the generation wise say social media is important to them in the workplace. Workplace, not in personal life. And they are bringing a lot of problem for the business. 64% of the Gen Y are downloading unauthorized application. For the people who are writing applications, it's a revenue leakage. For the organization, it's something that which is not desirable. So it brings certain benefits, it brings certain ill will also. So traditional roles and processing in a business network is changing constantly. Employees and customers and partners, and these are three key stakeholders in an organization. Those days, about 10 years back or 15 years back, when you put up a network, you will put up a network for your employees. You'll put up something for your customers, because they have to be kept outside. All what an employee can access, the customers cannot enjoy. And partners, if you have to use your partners in ordering or customer, in your supply chain, you have to have a separate network for them. Today, do you think the pace at which things are changing, that you can afford to keep these kind of three different networks? Impossible. You have to have a robust network, and you might probably authorize people to use information, whether you are an internal employee or an external partner or your customers. You have to really have the same set of information. Take an example, simple example of a flight reservation. Level on reservation, even the web check-in, for instance. Those days, you have to call up the airport to do your tele-check-in, or sometimes you have to go there and say that I want an aisle seat or whatever. Today, the airline has thrown open the whole thing absolutely to you. The time you book, you can book your seats. So what was really kept to themselves, they opened it. Banks, they've done exactly the same thing. Those days, if you have to update your passbook, you have to go there and give it physically and get somebody right, and then you know that this bank acknowledges that I got so much money. Today, you see your transaction yourself. So slowly, you are taking the computer and putting right in front of the organization. It's coming in between your client. See, those days, you have a salesperson. If there is something goes wrong with your product or service, the salesperson is there to manage the show when the customer walks into your office. An angry customer can be handled by a human being. Today, you have no such luxury. You have to put systems right in the middle, and that system need to really handle a joyful customer and an angry customer. Both should be handled by the system that you put in place. That put enormous amount of pressure on the system that you have for yourself. So the roles, traditional roles, are rapidly changing because of technology. So let me move straight on to this. See, we perceive that these four technology elements that we spoke about, this is truly forming a perfect storm. Cloud, mobility, social, and analytics. These things, for the first time, when you look at the Gartner study, it says that almost, these are the four technology trends that is projecting is going to decide most of the investments from the organization side on technology. He's estimating something like $2.1 trillion is going to be spent around these technologies. So why do I talk about this? Every decade, something or other is going to come and take the whole, market by a storm. And that technology will stay for at least a decade's time. Why is that it's so important? $2.1 trillion is going to be spent by the business, that's fine. The key thing is that only 10% of the organization across the board are today prepared to handle the impact of this technology. I repeat once again, only 10% of the collective knowledge between IBM or various other companies like ourselves. Truly speaking, if you have to really harness the potential of these four technologies, only 10% of the capabilities are available with the companies. Balance need to come from where? From the academic institutions. Unless you are aware of, I'm sure this is nothing new, you are aware of this, but unless you really understand there's a tremendous potential, industry is going to struggle and they're going to seek out for people. In my mind, this is a blessing in disguise that's coming in the way of the people who are going to prepare themselves for the job market. So let me spend a little time on each one of these four things: that social and mobility, analytics, and cloud. Let's talk about this social networking. This is a survey out of a survey conducted by IBM across the globe. So here they captured factors like social networking tools, mobile platforms, cloud computing, virtualization, and service-oriented architecture. These are the 5 key technology elements that most of the IT managers will grapple with on a day-to-day basis. And they were asking, which is really posing the highest risk. Look at this, undoubtedly, social networking tools, mobile platforms, and cloud are the three areas which are being rated by the IT manager the extremely risky proposition. Okay, I'm talking about the bad news first. But do you think that anybody can stay away from this? They are risky, but you have to better find a way to deal with that. Okay, so that's the kind of market opportunity it's really presenting itself. Social business, seems very simple, when I spoke to my 14-year-old daughter when some discussion about email came up. So I was telling her that, my personal email was not working. I'm feeling a little uncomfortable. He said, why do you need a personal email ID? I was wondering what's wrong with you. I thought you are a Generation Y kid. I thought you must be knowing the use of a email. She said, no, Daddy. Why do you need email? You need Facebook only. I said, I need to communicate with my friends. She said, then what for this Facebook is all about? Then I asked her, how do I communicate with my friends one-on-one? Why do you have to communicate with your friends one-on-one? What is good for one friend, it's good for other friend also. So we are dealing with this generation which says that Facebook is good enough to communicate with your friends. What is that as a secret to talk to one friend? I thought, okay, she'll take some time to understand the complex world of, one time. But if you recall, in the last 6 months, how many times you have written to your friend a very personal mail? Not at all. So that's the kind of, generation that you are dealing with. That they are believing that this social media is going to be part of your day-to-day things. Okay, it's good. In many, many ways it's good. There are some challenges also. You look at that. Now, first of all, this is going to be the, it reaches the mass. So it can be, if it is really harnessed properly, it can be a very, very solid, innovative platform. And there's a huge amount of cost saving and productivity. Because you don't have to really spend your organization's IT investment to spread some information to your people who are connected in the social media. And by 2016, over 350 million users will be with their smartphones. They will do their work on that. There are some more data points that I'll share with you later. The key thing is Gartner says that by 2014, 90% of the organizations will support corporate applications in the personal device of individuals. Okay, so you may read many messages out of this, but the key point is that organization cannot help but open up the applications through the personal device access. Otherwise, you cannot really leverage your employees' potential right through the day if you want. Okay, all good things doesn't come without a price. So social also brings certain not so desirable stuff. One is that you can see that in 2011 itself there was 155% increase in smartphone malware. So that's you have to deal with that. It's going to increase only when the number of phones are going to increase. And social networks are, the attackers are choosing this social media because of its ease of delivery. They're using this social media to even deliver some of those undesirable things also. So you need to deal with them. Then important thing is, especially companies involved in intellectual property. For instance, IBM as an IT company, we sell intellectual property in the form of a product. Hardware is a different thing. But if you take our software or services, all of them we are selling intellectual property to customers. There is a very good possibility that there will be, the leakage of revenue, leakage of business will happen through this social media because of its pervasive nature if we don't really deal with them properly. And things like, customer information, scandals you are hearing, private. See, if there is one scandal that you come across, you see in the news, the impact it will have on the whole country or the whole industry is immense, irreversible. So this is, social business is going to bring this, but, we have to find a ways to deal with that. Finally, companies are really struggling to manage social media. And Prakash, gave a very animated view about this, how he really chosen this sari for his wife. But it is a positive side of it. Several companies are using the sentiment analytics. As we speak, there are a number of few cities in India, the police commissioners are talking to us to help them in finding out the sentiment analysis of the city. It's about, for instance, if there's a cricket match happening, they would like to know how the security was handled by the police in that city. Chennai last week, had the privilege of hosting Mr. Narendra Modi in Chennai, and there were, a lot of crowd and traffic system really, had a big challenge. Police would like to know what is the impact of such VIP visits and how did they handle. So they would like to know how the public sentiments, and at the end of the day, they are serving the citizens. And they started focusing on how can they really understand the public reaction and behave accordingly. So it brings certain positive things, but at the same time, if there is one negative, perception among the public, it's very difficult to contain. So that's a negative side that it's going to bring. So with all those good and bad things, how do you really, harness the potential of the social media for an organization? I really captured very, very in simple terms. First of all, you have to have a workplace strategy. Workplace strategy doesn't mean that only your physical workplace strategy like your table chair alone. You have to have a strategy for an organization that are you really going to give an access based on the device alone. For every desktop you might give an access to a particular application. And that gone are those days, you might move on to identity management and access management, and you will be giving the credential based on the, the ID. If you are the user, you can log in from anywhere, and your application, if you are authorized based on the identity, it will allow you to access the application. So move all of them. I mean, I'm talking about one aspect of the workplace strategy. You have to have a long-term strategy. You cannot really handle them any longer as a shotgun approach. That I hired somebody to buy some PCs, I hired somebody to install some software, and he'll walk out. You'll walk out with a lot of knowledge about your company, which you will not have continuity at all. So you have to have a strategy in place. Second is, whether you like it or not, people are going to demand accessing your application from anywhere, anytime. Okay, before they start demanding and before they find some innovative way of cracking into your system, you better make it available to them. You can't really hold on to your information any longer by putting this, all this firewall and things like that. It's going to be order of the day. It's a question of time. Sooner or later, everybody's going to demand. So might as well draw a strategy to allow that my customers, meaning my internal customers, are going to demand access anytime, anywhere. So I better put the right security to allow this, so that you don't have to worry about it. You can put all your energies only around protecting your overall data, assuming that the rest of the world is going to access your data. And support collaboration and mobile workers. This is going to be increasingly difficult. When I joined IBM several years back, almost 17 years back, we were 600 employees. Today we must be in excess of 150,000 employees. And if I have to talk about providing only office space alone, it is costing us $14,000 per year for each employee for us to provide a space, a computer, and all the good things that you need to provide for a multinational employee or an IT employee. That's the kind of money expense is going to cost. If you're going to really encourage diversity, going to allow women employees to work from home, or someone who would like to really who's got to support the family, you would like to work from home. If you really allow this flexibility to the employees, you will get much more productivity out of them. Make sure that your IT supports all of them. You cannot really take these decisions independent of that. And address the security positively. Today, if there is a security breach, nobody can imagine what will be the impact of that. Then after that, you can really count your chickens, and you can, you can only really feel sorry about it. So any security concerns, you will not even have a precedence to know that what kind of impact it can leave it. So address them proactively. Then finally, engage a partner who can really help you, who are good in this. See, you might be running, let's say you may be a switchgear manufacturer, you may be a manufacturing company, or maybe a garment exporter. You are going to focus most of your energy, your management time only in improving your business. And leave this is really becoming, it's not going to be one isolated problem. We are talking about social, mobility, cloud, and analytics. These four technologies I'm talking about. Imagine if all of them are going to come together. The challenge is going to pose on your system is going to be enormous. So you better leave it to somebody who's going to have a track record of your IT strategy and is going to help you right through the journey. So let me talk about the next thing that I'm going to talk about is mobility, mobile. Before that, now you need to understand this unified communication. Unified communication in very simple terms, it started off with the dial tone phone earlier. Now it moved on to this making your presence felt through your chat platform. That's where we are today. And it might in future using social media or social communications, it will go to a level where you will be at the moment you log into your social media. If you really have your connections right, you will be seeing people who are relevant to that particular time of the day. You will see all the connects required for that particular day. So every company today, few years back, probably they will say that don't get into Facebook or don't get into LinkedIn or whatever. Today, every organization is officially allowing employees to access some of them. Probably you might, if you're a, let's say, Java programmer, you might be part of some Java user forum. You might get a lot of productivity tips through that. So there is no way you can really define how the future connections are going to be. So that's the level to which it's moving to. In simple terms, unified communication means, in my opinion, if I'm carrying my mobile, if I'm searching for a name, if it is not there, if it's my office guy, I should be able to really look at my office directory and pick up his phone number without storing that in my mobile. My system should, the moment it should look at my local phone data, if it is not there, it should go to my server, organization server without even I prompting for it. And Today we are carrying our contact book in our mobile, and if you go to, let's say your Gmail, if you are a Gmail holder, you might have all your address book only with the mail ID, you will not even store your phones. I mean, we are talking about unified communication in which all your contacts required in a personal or a professional life are categorized properly, but across the board, whichever device that you use, you have only one set of contacts. I mean, in simple terms, that's what I mean by, unified communication. This is fundamental for us to really move to, even mobility and even beyond that social communications. So that's the reason why I put this one chart on unified communication. Okay, mobile computing is very interesting, and I don't have to tell you that the spread of mobile, but let me give one context for you to appreciate that. About 9 to 10 years back, I had the privilege of listening to Mr. Sunil Bharti Mittal, CEO of Bharti Enterprises. 8 to 9 years back, they were working with IBM closely on running their infrastructure. So he was addressing some of the senior executives of IBM. At that time, I remember him saying, he was talking about his dream. His vision is to be one among the top 4, the mobile companies, services companies, GSM companies at that time, with 25 million subscriber base. Okay, only 3 companies were in that league. They were T-Mobile, Vodafone, and NTT are the 3 companies globally with 25 million plus subscribers. And Sunil Bharti wanted to reach that. He was at 16-17 million subscriber base. Today, you know that? Prakash also mentioned that. Although we are a 1.2 billion population country, the registered mobile user is 1.058 billion. Okay, so that's the one for a country with 120 crore people, or rather 1.2 billion people, 1.058 billion. Okay, this is registered mobile. Assuming that 250 million is, dormant customers not using it or whatever, at least 750 million customers are active customers today. And the official data, if you want, as of May 13th, the Association of Mobile Users, not mobile users, mobile operators, it is 657 million is the subscriber base, officially published in May. And they are adding almost 50 million subscribers every quarter. Okay, so we are talking about 8 years time, that's the kind of growth it happened. So we are talking about by 2016, 350 million people will use their smartphones for work. So this is the level of penetration it happened. And if you look at the other data point, 44% of the response, I mean, when there are some source that I captured in this chart, it may not be visible, but I've captured the source from where this data has been picked up. There are 44% of the people who responded to some survey were saying that they'll use their service both for personal and business purpose. Only 4% of the people said that I'll strictly use my equipment only for official purposes. So the point is that you can do nothing about preventing people from using a personal device for office and vice versa. Okay, and look at this. By 2013, 80% of the business application will be supported on the tablets, and by 2014, they are saying that 90% of the organizations will support corporate applications on a personal device. That's the kind of force which is coming. Okay, right. So needless to mention that mobility penetration is undoubtedly massive, and how can you really harness this? And if employee is going to say that please support me and I bring my own device. If as an organization, if you've got a policy of giving free mobile phone to your employees, I'm telling you, I have been working in an organization which were giving BlackBerry and good phones only, but still, at the end of the day, people will say, yeah, I know, I got a BlackBerry from my company, they gave it to me, but I want to own something else, iPhone. So you can never, run an organization where you can give all the devices that the employee needs. Rather, you tell them that I'll give some fixed money, you buy whatever device you want, I'll support you with my network. That seems to be the best way, so that your employees are available on call all the time, provided you are able to support from your from the backend standpoint. So first of all, this can deliver significant benefits, provided you are able to really harness by providing the right set of the things to protect security and all those aspects. It can put a lot of challenges that are captured in the right side of that. You have to it's going to put a lot of stress on your security system and bandwidth and so on and so forth. And that's anyway, as any enterprise need to deal with that. So let me move on quickly to the big data, the analytics that we are talking about. Okay, so Puru was talking about when he was introducing me. I'm representing a division called Smarter Planet Solutions in IBM. What we do in short is that we are helping urban cities to revamp their infrastructure like water distribution, power distribution, transportation, public safety, all these spaces which are not known to be aggressively using IT for their benefit. So for the first time, IBM, using, they've engaged in over 2,500 engagements all over the world, helping some of the infrastructure, and we are really using the big data and analytics to find certain insights and better ways of doing the same thing, and we evolved solutions around that. So I represent the division which is working with the urban infrastructure. And big data and analytics is really slowly coming into every facet of life. As I mentioned a few minutes back about the public safety with the police department, the sentiment analytics, and they are using, police department is using in crime analytics, crime prevention, whole lot of areas that they are using the big data and analytics. I've captured a set of reactions from a CIO and CFO survey that IBM conducted. Be it in finance, marketing, or information technology, every area, people are saying that we have to invest more. We have to invest a lot in this space. Nobody is saying that big data or analytics is going to be far away from my business. That's what I want you to keep in mind. One more little busy chart, but the point I'm trying to capture here is that data could be captured for the big data and analytics. You don't have to really spend too much money on devices, or you don't have to really spend too much money in too many technological stuffs. All you have to do is the data could be captured from multiple points, from a point of sale, or from a branch of a bank, or a kiosk machine, or social media. Anywhere you can capture the data. All you have to do is that you have to put the data in the right place and make sure in a form that you can gain insight about your own business and start applying back to your business. This is all we have to do. So in this business chart, what I'm trying to capture here is that business can benefit by taking every single data generation point and put them into the data warehouse and use analytic tools to really gain new insights which you have never really gotten in the past. Okay, let me talk about the last element in this cloud. So cloud, I'm sure the evaluation of cloud through virtualization was very the foundation cornerstone for this cloud, and everyone is trying to take advantage of how can we really use virtualization to make sure that all my machines, storage space, processing power, memory, everything in a computing industry, how can they be really used better? It started with the fact that across the globe, the people, when in India, when you're working in our office hours, people in the US are not going to use their computing power. So how can we really use them at the time that when they are sleeping? So that's how the whole thing started. Even the software license, what has been licensed out to use in the US, why can't we use that in the daytime in some other part of the world? So that's how to optimize the resources started. Today, when there was a question posed to the CEOs that how much cloud is part of your IT decision, he says that 40% of the people are saying that it's part of my high priority. So slowly it's moving, and look at the second part of that data. It says that long-term outlook shows that 27% will have majority of the IT applications on the cloud. So the second part of that chart, that what you're seeing there is that question was posed to the CEOs that do you think you're going to move most of your application or no application at all, or you're going to you are ready for cloud already. 27% has said that already. They are ready for most of the applications are going to reside on cloud. There's only to tell you that cloud is not far away. It is going to come and take everyone by storm. So be prepared for that. The last part of that bar chart that you're seeing here, business continuity, speed of deployment. What I've captured here is that when you are moving your business from the traditional way of hosting everything in-house and moving them into cloud, you might, what will you consider? Business continuity, speed of deployment, flexibility. These are the drivers that the worldwide the CFOs and CEOs are rated as the factors when they decide to move from the traditional model to cloud. Okay, so all of them are really stating that cloud is going to stay here. And how do you really harness the power of cloud and take advantage of that? First of all, try and consolidate. If you think that you've got a 50 desktop across your organization and each one of them are carrying, let's say, 1 GB, let's say 500 GB of store disk space, and if all of them are going to be used only 20% or 25%, imagine the space which are going to be wasted. And we are coming from the fact that unless something is on my desk, I don't feel comfortable. Leave those few old-time, CEOs or CFOs, give them one PC and leave it to them. But rest of the pieces, why can't we consolidate and keep all of them? Some few years back, I remember from the client server model, or rather the host-based model, everyone campaigned, and they said that we have to move it to client server, and whatever was running on the mainframe comfortably, the whole market dismantled those applications and made that as a client server and put it on everybody's desk. Today is the reverse. Now cloud is going to be there. You want to put everything consolidated, and you are going to take all the investments away from everybody's desk, give them a tablet or give them the smart PC or something with a very minimal storage space on that, move everything back to server. That's one way of preparing yourself to embrace cloud. Second is virtualize, meaning don't try to, if somebody wants a 500 GB space like what Google does, you tell them first of all, get your mindset out. Wherever the data is, as an IT manager, it's my job to protect your data. It will be available at a click of a button. You don't worry where physically it's sitting. It will be backed up. It will be all the good things that you expect out of your data, all of them will be available. Make sure that people internalize that first of all. So take that physical worry from their mind that their data will be safe, and anytime when they want, processing power will be available. To give an example, finance team will say that if you give me a small PC, end of the month I have to run my audit reports, I need more processing power. Tell him that don't worry, all your computing needs based on your user ID, it will be given more processing power to the end of the month. HR will say that I have to run my payroll 5 days ahead of the month end, I need more power. Don't worry, these IDs will be given a prioritized workload. So as far as possible, processing power, storage, everything, allow them to virtualize, get to the concept. Then you are going to be in the roadmap of cloud. Finally, standardize. Standardize on devices. You don't have to support your people with the 23 different devices that they want to keep. I mean, in life, everybody is going to, you can't have everything. You should have the really courage to tell some of your senior management that, look, if you want me to give you the 23 reports that you need every month, I need my IT budget will go 50% up. If you prioritize and tell me that you need only 5 reports in a month, then I'll bring your expense down to 1/4. CFO will be the first person to support you. In IBM, we had something called a sales automation tool called Sales Connect. All of us managers used to get about 27 reports, standard reports every month, which gives me rep level, product wise, their performance, all those that you can imagine as a sales manager will require. But the reality is that we use only not even 4 or 5 reports regularly, other things will seldom use. So my company turned around and said that, okay, I'm going to provide only 5 reports to you, pick and choose what you want. If you want to change some format of some reports, I'm okay, but I'll give only 5 reports. Otherwise your division will be debited with more expense. So we fell in line, so 5 reports are coming and we're very happy. So people will really manage. If you say that only this is all, I'm not saying that take the whole thing away and you'll show savings by cutting down their services. Prioritize. Are we not doing that same thing in our personal life? So standardize devices, ask them to prioritize, reduce the cycle to develop an application. If you tell somebody that you're developing an application, if your CEO is going to come and ask you twice, maybe once in a quarter, if both times if you say you're still developing, he will really would have moved on. He will not even want the application next time. Speed is the order of the day, and nobody would like to see anything which is going to take more than 3 months. So today, most of the CXO's attention span is no more than 3 months. Like Prakash rightly mentioned, all of us will be getting our job renewed every quarter. No, you are as good as your previous quarter. No, if you had a great quarter, you are sitting on top of the moon. Otherwise, too bad for you. Okay, so even to stand where you are, you have to keep running fast. That's the way the world is. So tell them that prioritize what you need, and make sure that you are building enough scalability to support your business. So truly this is my last slide. Key. In summary, security is going to be the most important thing if you are really thinking about the SMAC. Why are we talking about the social mobility, analytics and cloud as something which is going to really be the biggest trend coming and going to take the whole industry by storm? It's going to stay for a decade or so. First of all, for this diverse audience, it is going to have the biggest market opportunity in terms of employment, in terms of application development, because the collective industry capability is only 10% to harness the potential. When $2.1 trillion is going to be spent on this, lot of vacuum space available. So the security is going to be the biggest challenge on this. Second is unified communication. Think about this. It's not a very trivial challenge. at an individual level, people should really feel very comfortable that wherever I am, whatever I am doing, I will be able to really deliver my job to the best of the organization's expectation. That's possible only when you use technology to integrate all his day-to-day things together. Okay, then analytics, don't underestimate this. You might, if you think that analytics is being used only in the drug formulation, or is being used in life sciences or any of those complex computing environment, you are mistaken. It's going to be used in very, very simple day-to-day things also. Okay, so be prepared with your strategy for leverage the analytics market. And mobile, whether you like it or not, mobile is going to increasingly dominate our life, and it's going to bring enormous amount of facility. If an organization really smartly manages this, they can really save a lot of money. You don't have to really buy desktop for everybody. You must have seen for the first time in history, the smartphone shipment has been outnumbered the PC shipment. So you must have seen any data, the number of iPads and the smart tablets and the phones which are being shipped out outnumbered PC for the first time in the history. It shows that changing choice of platform, choice of delivery is going to change. So that's what it indicates. So finally, use cloud to reduce the complexity. We are talking about, when you talk about each one of them, there is a fine thread running, when you talk about social media and unified communication or mobility, all of them has got a, one is going to put load on the other one. When all of them coming together, if everything coming in silos or on its own, you can handle. But when they come together, you need to have a strategy in place. So cloud is something which is really going to take all of us by storm. So be prepared. Okay, so this is truly my last slide, but I want to just leave one thought. So if you ask me this question, that am I here to only scare the hell out of you, saying that these things are going to come and everything is got a security breach and things like that? No, it's not so. What are we doing as a commercial organization? Are we really doing something, or only doing this preaching everywhere and scaring the people that nothing is safe in the world? We are doing our bit in small way. Most of you know some familiar faces I can see. IBM is running this program for the students called the Great Mind Challenge. In that program, along with ICT and NASSCOM's strong support. In fact, recently, last week, we signed an MOU with ICT Academy, and the Vice Chancellor of Anna University launched a program in which ICT Academy was launching a DB2 training for the Train the Trainer program, and the objective was to train 1,500 college lecturers to learn certification. Then they will in turn impart education with the students. This is one specific technology. Using ICT's help and NASSCOM support, what we are doing is this. The program that I spoke about, the Great Mind Challenge. It is a technology contest that we are running for the students, and it's happening for the past 7 years. This has been rated by Limca Book of Records as the largest technology contest for the second year and running. Almost like 160,000 students enrolled for this. What we do is we give some project context, and India Software Lab, we have got about 40,000 people in India Software Lab. They will design some project context. People will be allowed to go and download IBM software, and all the tools required to understand the technologies are there in the system. All they have to do is just download those tools, take the project scenario, and work on your solutions and submit the solution, and they'll be evaluated by our experts, and finally the winners will be given certain, they'll be acknowledged, and the certification, there'll be some recognition will be given to them. The key point is that we have this year, it is going to be launched in February, and this time the theme is mobility. So the whole contest is going to be around mobility. So we will be providing all the tools required to write mobile application, and the winners will, at least we committed, top 100 winners will be given an internship within IBM and IBM partners. Okay, so that's going to come very soon, but the point is that out of this 4 technology, we have started with one. If it really takes off, we are planning to roll out with the other 3 technologies also. The point is that I can never get an audience like this every day and keep preaching about these technologies. The way it can happen is, if students are motivated enough, they will know really how to find the help and how to bring the best out of them. So we are exactly here to really motivate them. So with that, thanks for the opportunity once again. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.